Hello students, welcome to the next video on digital communication. Myself Gunjan Mittal Roy in the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering in Greater Noida, GEMTech. So in the previous video we have talked about the basics of random processes, and in this video also we will be focusing on remaining basics of random processes. So there are different basics like mean, moments, standard deviation, variance, autocorrelation, cross correlation. All these parameters we are going to discuss in this video. So before that, we should basically understand what is the difference between a deterministic process and a random process. So as the name is suggesting, deterministic, something which can be determined, which have a standard pattern of output, which have an explicit mathematical relation, which has a desired output or outcome, is a deterministic process. A process which can be determined, which can be identified, which can be related, which can be explained that how it is going to happen, why it is going to happen, what will be the output, what will be the effect if we change this condition, if we provide that condition. So something if we have in our control and we know the nature, the behavior or the performance of a certain process, then that process can be taken as the deterministic process. So for example, what we have written here is the response of a single mass spring damper in free vibration in laboratory. So this output should be a deterministic or predefined output. Whereas what are the random processes? As the name is suggesting, random. That means their performance, their behavior is random or undeterministic. It can change any time at any value, and the user or and the observer does not have any control over the variations on that process. We can only say that this process is random as it is changing or fluctuating randomly over the period of time, and we cannot determine in a proper manner. So still we like to find some parameters of random process in order to explain these random processes in an evident way. So to explain these random processes, we determine various parameters such as mean, and this is showing the example of a random process. As I mentioned you that a certain process xt can be called as random if its output changes continuously with respect to time, and this output does not have any control, it is not at all in control of the user or observer, how it is going to change, why it is going to change, how long it will be changing, for up to what magnitude it will be changing. So there is no information about all these questions, then that process is called as the random process. So the random process can be determined in various parameters, and one parameter is the PDF, probability density function, which describes the magnitude of a random process. So if we talk about the magnitude, what would be the magnitude of a random process? It is given by the probability density function, which is most commonly called as the PDF. But the problem is that it does not give any information on the time or frequency contents of the process. It gives only the magnitude of that process, whereas it does not indicate any value related to time or frequency. Now, as I was talking about the various parameters, so there are averaging and stationary conditions. So there we have time average and ensemble average. What is the meaning of time average? So if we take the average of a single recorded output, that means if we have a single result or single record and we take the average of that values, the properties are obtained by averaging over a single record in time, then that is called the time averaging. Now, what is ensemble averaging? Ensemble means the collection of records. We have a multiple number of records, and if we take the average of the collection of records or average of the ensemble records, then that value is called as the ensemble average. Now, what are the stationary random processes? We have two types of random processes, stationary and they are strict sense stationary and wide sense stationary. And to have a strict wide sense stationary process, which is in general called as the stationary process, the random process, which is called as the ergodic process. Ergodic process is should be the one where the time average is equal to the ensemble average. So what are ergodic processes? The most stationary random processes are called as the ergodic process, and for a random process to be stationary or for a random process to be ergodic process, the condition is that the time average must be equal to ensemble average. Here we are having the examples of stationary random processes and non-stationary random processes. So if wind loading from extratropical synoptic gales is taken as the stationary random process. So stationary random process means the random process, although it is random, but it is stationary for a certain period of time. Whereas the wind loading from hurricanes is nothing but kind of storms or thunderstorms, even on tornadoes. When these wind loading occurs due to hurricanes or storms or tornadoes, then they are called as the non-stationary processes. So this is the difference between the stationary and non-stationary processes. Now we have to determine the relations, various parameters of these processes. So first parameter is mean value, mean or the average taken of a random process xt over the time period 0 to t, the average of a function. Xt is given by x bar equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 upon t 0 to t integration xt dt. So this is the formula for the mean value of a random process xt, and which is integrated over the time period 0 to t. Where x bar, what is x bar? It represents basically the height of rectangular area having the same area as that under the function xt. It can also be defined as the first moment of the PDF. So mean is called as the first moment of PDF, whereas mean square, we are just coming to mean square, it is called as the second moment of PDF. So to define mean square, variance and standard deviation, we have different relations. So first is mean square, like we have determined mean x bar, mean square is defined as x square bar, limit t tends to infinity 1 upon t 0 to t integration x square t dt. So the value of xt is now squared, it becomes x square t. The variance is determined by the equation 2, which is mean square, and first equation x bar mean, and taking the whole square. That means the mean square value minus the squaring of mean value, the squaring of first equation. That means equation 2 minus square of equation 1 gives us the variance. Okay, this is the relationship of variance. Now we have come to the standard deviation. Standard deviation is given by sigma x, and it is determined by taking the square root of variance. What is variance? Basically, it gives the variation of the defined function, expected variation, that how much it is going to vary with respect to time. And standard deviation is the standard value of deviation or variance, but it is the square root of the variance. Okay, so after that we have autocorrelation. So as we have talked about the cross correlation, now we are talking about the autocorrelation. Autocorrelation means the relationship between a random process xt with its time shifted version xt plus tau. So it is showing that the autocorrelation or autocovariance describes the general dependency of xt with its value at a short time later, that is xt plus tau, where tau is a dummy variable or shift in time. It is given as rho x of tau equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 upon t integration 0 to t xt minus x bar into xt plus tau minus x bar into dt. So autocorrelation is the another property of a random process, and if tau is kept equal to 0, it becomes variance. Sigma x square, and normalized autocorrelation is also determined by r tau equal to rho x of tau upon sigma x square, where r of 0 equal to 1, that means tau value is taken as 1. This is the relationship graph of autocorrelation, the time lag tau and r tau. So the autocorrelation value is 1 when tau equal to 0. For the random process eventually decays to 0 at large tau. So as the tau increases, the autocorrelationship decreases. So the relationship means decreases as the time variation or the shift in time increases. The autocorrelation for a sinusoidal process is cosine function, which does not decay to 0. So for a sine function, the autocorrelation is cosine, and that also does not go to 0. Okay, the area under the normalized autocorrelation function for the fluctuating wind velocity measured at a point is a measure of the average time scale of the eddies being carried past the measurement point, say T1. So this is the shaded region showing the autocorrelation function. Okay. Thank you so much.